Today we have very special guests with us. Coinrule is a very, very interesting company, smack on in the perfect timing with everything that they're doing. And they're just off the back of a fundraise round. So they're in the most interesting times of early stage growth, even though they've been growing quite a bit. But without further ado, guys, would you like to be so kind to introduce yourselves? Maybe start with Oleg and then Gabriel as well, a little bit about who you are and how you ended up with Coinrule.
Sure, I can start. Yeah, my name is Oleg Kipperstein. I'm a co-founder and COO of Coinrule. Background, I grew up in Germany, came to the UK, studied here, went to work in banking. It was good, but it wasn't really as great as one would have thought coming into it. And I quit and joined Mass Challenge, the accelerator program, with my first startup. That's also where I met you, Jason, as you remember. But that's also where I met Gabriele, my co-founder. And we then I started really getting into crypto blockchain, and Gabriele was on the same journey. Maybe we'll talk a bit more about that later. And we ended up starting Coinrule together.
Cool. And I'm Gabriel, co-founder of Coinrule, CEO of Coinrule. And so I worked in the US, in Boston for a few years, in Finland, ended up in London. So that's my home now. And I'm an expert in UX and product, always been doing that in my life, mostly for fintech companies. And then since 2014, I started having this startup bug. So I was just building companies, and in one of the accelerators, Mass Challenge, I met Oleg and we started Coinrule.
Awesome. I think just as a kind of side note here, it's amazing to know that between four of us, with Mo having, his background is Egyptian and French, also lived in UK, and I'm from Bosnia originally, which originally was Yugoslavia. Between four of us, we just about cover most major parts of the world here, and we're all somehow in UK and in Europe, although Mo is now sitting in North Africa, in Egypt. So it's all good. Mo, take it over with the purpose question.
Well, I've actually read up quite a bit about Coinrule. Love what you're doing. How would you actually summarize the purpose of Coinrule? So, I mean, if I had to summarize it myself, it would be essentially making algorithmic trading accessible to all across crypto. But I guess, what can you tell us on a more deeper level about the fundamental purpose of Coinrule?
Cool. Okay, I'll start. I think in Coinrule, we are trying to level the playing field between algorithmic traders, professional traders, bankers, and normal people. So it's our small contribution to the inequality in society. So the broader mission is actually to give access to normal people to advanced tools the same way banks and hedge funds does. So it's in a way, it's really about social inclusion and teaching people how to manage their own money, their own savings, so they can be better off in a world that is really governed and ruled by financial institutions.
Very interesting. Oleg, is there something else that you would add to that, or?
I mean, that obviously is the main point. Maybe a tiny bit something to add, which is today's millennials hold much less stocks or financial investments than the generation of our parents. And the reason for that mostly is because people feel overwhelmed by the complexity of the markets. They don't know where to start. It's just such an old school way how so much is still done in financial markets. And here comes crypto, this new sector, new field, feels much more familiar to millennials who know, grew up with computer games, etc. But suddenly in this market, also the professional traders are coming. Big whales using advanced trading tools, advanced algorithms, and normal people cannot compete. And what we want to do is we are giving this ability to actually compete to these normal people, to the people who are currently really not included in that market. So that's something that's super important to us.
So that perfectly leads into the people area, really, and discussion about people. it's interesting to hear from your initial answer that purpose immediately led to helping people make sense and make the most of this new emerging market. But tell us a little bit more about the people that are really kind of perfect customer for Coinroll.
So
yeah.
I mean, I'll start. So I mean, the people, it's basically like really users like me and you guys. So it's someone that is slightly techy, so it kind of likes to tinker around and play with some new tools. He has some savings. He works maybe in some sort of capabilities within the tech industry, and is always looking to explore new tools, like probably they have a Revolut account, a Monzo account, and they really don't like the idea of having their money just standing on their bank account. Also, it's someone that sometimes understands the losses that he gets by losing that 2-3%, the devaluation of the currencies. So he would like to trade at least part of his portfolio in an active way. So there is Money Farm, there is Wealthify, there is a plethora of services that allow you to put money in a black box, forget about it, and maybe come back in 1 year to and you get back your 3 to 5% interest rate. But then some people, they also like to trade in a more active way, and for that purpose, I think Coinrule is the right tool.
Awesome.
Oleg, do you want to add something as well?
No, I think that's really like where our users come from.
So I mean, if you could go there into kind of systems, right? I mean, how this actually works, what would you say? So on an internal level, what are kind of some of the most valuable systems that really make Coinroll stand out there? So, I understand maybe you have, a connection to various liquidity pools. You have a content management platform for educating people about various aspects of trading. You have sort of a wizard for designing and executing your algorithms. What else kind of a systematic way or like key processes really kind of the value add of Coinroll, like the strong IP of the company?
First of all, there is the whole rule-based trading thing. So the concept of IFTTT, if this then that, we take that and we apply it to the world of trading. What we found is that a lot of people come to us, a lot of our users, when they first see Coinroll, they say things like, wow, this is literally what I've been looking for. Because people have in their mind a way of thinking, I want to do this and then that, and if this happens, I want to do that. And they go on some of the more advanced, like really advanced trading platforms. They see huge charts, everything blinking. They don't know what's going on. It just doesn't resonate with the way how normal people think. And if you try Coinroll, you'll see that we use natural language also as much as possible. So as you build your strategies, you actually see in plain English what the strategy would do. So what you really get with Coinroll is not like a black box where you put your money in and you don't really know what happens, but you define your rules. And even if you use, one of the many templates that we provide, you still see in plain English what that strategy would do. So this transparency and this rule-based aspect of building strategies, that's really like what we offer and what our users love.
That's really fantastic from my perspective, because I remember, us guys talking about your initial prototype that you had about I think it was like 2 years ago, and it wasn't coming across as clearly as it's coming across now. And so most people are able to talk, but they don't know how to program. And in a sense, this kind of gets a feeling of some sort of like almost like pseudo programming your rules for trading effectively. So in terms of innovation, what would you say is the most innovative thing in Coinrule? Is it that IFTTT kind of like system, or is there some other thing that's kind of the key innovation?
I think it's simplicity, as innovative as it can be. It's the fact that in a seamless way, in a very no-nonsense way, you can build an algorithmic trade. So the thing you were mentioning, the if this then that logic, it's really like natural language. Like if this happen, do this and that. So it's kind of cause and effect, and that's something that's embedded in anyone cognitive capacities. So we do we kind of catches this seamless by talking to a lot of users and doing a lot of user research. And then we try to understand always the hidden behavior behind the thinking, right? And then we try to translate, that's the most important part, translate all this like systematic research and feedback and the content that we get from the user into something actionable that end up being something in the interface and therefore in the product, right? So I think that's the seamless simplicity that you can find in Coinrule. And Coinrule is tackling a very complex topic that is algorithmic trades. So, you know, a lot of people come on the app and they are like just shocked because there's just a few things, right? But we really try not to add any elements, any new features, any extra text if it's really not needed. So thinking about the only button on the iPhone, right? So we are basically doing that, but for something that is extremely complex. In fact, on the back end, that's what we call the arbiter. It took like a good 2 years to develop with 5 engineers, and now we're actually refactoring all the backend as well to even improve it. And so that's the beauty of it. So in fact, sometimes we have also advanced traders coming to us. They're used to these like overloaded, data like interfaces, like, with 8 screens coming from Bloomberg, coming from like some investment banks. They come to our software and they don't even know where to start. So when this happens, I'm actually very happy, and I think that we are winning. Because on the other side, we have a lot of normal people. 90% of users are just like hobbyist traders that comes to us and they go like, wow, finally it's something that I understand and I can use. So yeah, basically our work, 90% of our work from me and Oleg and also our designers and the front-end guy, it's really every day to talk to user and to actually translate that into products and user interfaces.
So, I mean, I like what you said, Gabriel. There's one thing that I'm seeing here, and, in the trading market, so it's kind of like, dark patterns in both worlds, right? Trading market, usually have retail brokers signing people up to get all their money through trading fees. And then you have people like, saying, okay, I'll train you to trade, and you also lose all your money. So what I really like about your proposition is there's really like a deep customer centricity of, okay, we actually want to help you make money in the crypto market and execute strategies reliably. So if you just look at products, right, and products we design company sense is, what is the person getting out of this? Could you tell us about some success stories that you've seen on Coinroll?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, we have almost $30 million monthly trading volume now. So we obviously have like quite a lot of activity. We have some users who have been with us. I mean, our MVP went live in 2019. We have users who have been, I mean, we're still an early stage product, but we have users who have been using us for over a year at this point, which I like. It's really, I feel incredibly honored by the fact that these people not just put their trust, people try out any product, but actually put their money into it. I think that's something that puts an incredible amount of responsibility, but also pride into us as a team. I mean, in terms of like success stories, obviously there are people who manage to make really good returns. One story in particular stands out when the markets collapsed around the COVID time in March, when everyone went into panic mode. Our users were actually 67% of the funds on the platform were actually in profit, and that's why because users had strategies which were protecting their portfolios. So whilst everyone was trying to like panic sell, our users had gotten out of their trades already before, and the system makes sure that the trades execute, maybe not on the first time, but then on the second or third. So a bot protects you where the human can really not compete with that. And that's something we are extremely proud of. In terms of like other stories, to give you also what I also consider a success, there are users who come to us and they have unrealistic expectations. They think they can, put in $1,000 and every day make, $100. But like there are a lot of people out there, especially in our industry, unfortunately, willing to just, scam people. And we are very honest. We say, look, I mean, this is really not for you. If you don't understand the difference between trading, investing, and what it means to actually learn and engage with that platform, it's not a get-rich-quick scheme. So the fact that if we tell this to people, maybe it actually also teaches them something. That's something I'm also proud of. We are really a platform that people can come to and talk to and actually understand what they're doing. Like they can trust us. And I think we see that from the user feedback we're getting pretty much every single day. And that makes me proud.
I mean, sometimes it goes also too far because you have people calling Oleg or me or Ruben at any time during the day because, you know, we are very open about it. But yeah, I think authenticity really pays back in 2020.
Yeah, that's very interesting. One thing that comes to my mind as we move into the money area, and in many respects, Coinrule is about money making, I suppose, and certainly money management and investing. And going off the back of that IFTTT, do you guys foresee, or maybe it's already possible in Coinrule somewhere, to have like money making recipes where it's like, here's a kind of a typical thing that you might want to execute, for example, on a particular trade, and there's like a kind of smart default recipe that I can start with?
Oleg, you want to go for that?
Yeah, sure. So we have already template strategies, which we test on historical data. So yes, the short answer is yes, we do. In fact, we currently have, I think, over 180, and our head of trading publishes like every week a strategy that he has tested. And what does it mean to test it? It means to actually run a strategy, see how exactly the strategy would have performed, let's say, over the last 3 months, 6 months, or certain time period. Obviously, that does not tell you how it will perform in the next 3 months or next 6 months, but still it does give you an idea. If you see that this strategy would have been a complete disaster the last 3 months, probably it wouldn't make much sense in the next 3 months either, unless the market changes fundamentally. But what you can do with our templates is you can select them, you can literally click select, it pre-fills the templates with smart defaults. All you have to do is put in the amount you want to actually trade and press launch, and you're in the market.
Yeah, and then in just one more question around the money is, you guys have just done an amazing Seeders crowdfunding round, which kind of went on. Did it go like double or almost double
I
the
think
target?
209. Yeah, 209%.
So just over double.
Yeah, so you know, that's quite nice thing to see in those kind of crowdfunding rounds. What are you guys actually looking to utilize that money for, you know, going forward in terms of further growth of the company?
Yeah, I mean, I would love to say, you know, a lot of different things that we can activate, but actually it's just going to be team. So we're going to be employing a lot of engineers and developers and good ones from all over the world. We are going to allocate a minimum budget into kind of influence marketing activities and also to enhance our affiliate program. But yeah, I think the people, I mean, people are the first thing in a company, and you know, it's obvious to say, but it's really one thing that makes me spend a lot of time interviewing, finding the right people, understanding their needs, and also giving them like the right help at the right time. So for example, one of our guys, he works from out of Nigeria. Yesterday, his laptop broke, his monitor broke. I was like, look, you know, let's just go to Apple straight away. We pay for everything, even if it's a contractor, right? So we are not required to, but it's like, look, you know, we can pay for it. There's no problem. So we are trying to be there for people when they really need us. And that's where we spend most of the money. That's where we will spend most of the fundraise.
Okay. So I like what you said, Gabriel. I mean, ultimately, at the end of the day, right, that's very important what you just said. He's a contractor. You don't have to, but you're still doing it. And this is one thing I think is so missing in business today, but it's really where people need to evolve towards in order to actually grow in the kind of world we're living in now. So just kind of this final area growth. So obviously, you know, you're a trading engine. You know, one of your key metrics is going to be volume of trades that you're executing. What are some other like fundamental ways that you're measuring growth, and what kind of growth really are you looking towards, looking forward, whether quantitatively or qualitatively?
I think we have like different views, and they're also complementary. So that's actually the power of our team between me and Oleg and also Ruben. I think for me, growth means revenues. I always see in an obsessive way, I always check that number in my small widget that I have on my laptop. And I really try to find out new growth hack and creative way to actually increase the sales. But then I know, and I'm glad that Oleg and also Ruben and my co-founders and my founding team has other ways to measure growth that are equally important. Exactly, Oleg?
Yeah. I mean, for me also, to be honest, revenue, I think it should be for pretty much every startup, unless you have a really good explanation why not, it should be the primary first metric to look at. But then once we've gone past that, obviously we also want to know what's the retention rates, what's the churn rates, what are, what's the level of activity. So how many rules are users creating? How often are they coming back to check them? Those are things that are super important. But I think the kind of the guiding light, as Gabriele said, is the revenue. What I do like about looking at things like retention rates is that it gives you also like cohort retention rates. It gives you kind of a sense where things are going. It's a bit of a lagging indicator. Your revenue might be high this month, but if you see a lot of users canceling, you know that your revenue might not be as high next month. Whereas obviously revenue is kind of like, just this is where we are right in this moment.
I like always to connect the acquisition activities to pure commercial marketing, where the retention metric is connected to product marketing. So these are the clear separation that we have in the company. In fact, we always have a team that actually acquire users and a team that builds the product. So it's a product team and a marketing team, and that's it. Everything falls into one or the other.
That's awesome. And guys, just sort of as a kind of closing off question, really, where do you see the company, let's say in 5 years time, or even in 10 years time? What is Coinrule in 5 to 10 years time?
So we want to be the automation layer that is come across all the investment platforms. So if you talk about DeFi, if you talk about blockchain, if you talk about traditional assets like gold or either like normal stock like Tesla and Apple, we want to give people the ability to trade in an automatic way across all these assets. So that's where we see ourselves, the leader in the sector, the one that brought machine learning, artificial intelligence, and automation across all investment platforms for normal people. That's the vision. How do we do it? It's much more difficult.
So are we looking at many billions, or just a few trillion in 10 years time?
Oleg is the number guy here.
I think the way how things are evolving, it could be a few trillion too at this point. But I don't know if that says more about the company or about the devaluation of the currencies.
That's true.
Awesome. And in terms of how people join the platform, it's all on coinrule.com. Are there any particular kind of offers that you perhaps might be able to, offer the listeners of this podcast? Can we get some stickers or something?
Yeah, so actually at the moment we have the offer on yearly plans. It's like 25% off. We can extend this one also for the listener of this podcast if you want. So we'll send you the link and people will be able to subscribe through that link. 25% off.
Awesome. That's a very generous offer and an amazing start to the year. I mean, I've done some very sort of ad hoc CFD trading last year, and I ended up having loads of wins, but ultimately I didn't know what I was doing. It was more like pot luck, really. And I think with something like Coinrule, it's essential to be able to actually set it up in a way that you want it to do, as opposed to the way the other trading platforms kind of guide you or lead you down the path of doing it, which is not very kind of user centric. And of course, for anyone who's listening to this podcast, Anya Design Company solution is ready on meetanya.com. So that's always available for those who are really looking to grow their companies, both in terms of money and growth proper. So welcome there as well. Guys, thank you so much for joining an amazing chat. And I'm so happy that you've gone from Mass Challenge a few years ago to this success, and it's only really a start of a massive journey.
Thank you so much.
Very much.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you, Jason.
Awesome.
Thanks, Mo.
Thank you, Mohammed. Bye-bye. Thanks,
Cheers.
guys.